Hey everyone, we're going to keep going with learning how to evaluate our free web sources. This video is about how to use MediaBiasFactCheck.com to read laterally about your source to see if your source is known to have a good reputation and if they have any big biases you need to know. So I'm going to share my screen and show you how to do that. And it's actually really simple to do this. So you can see that on the left, I have our worksheet open here. And basically, I'm doing this step at the bottom where it's asking me to use one of these websites, MediaBiasFactCheck.com, to evaluate my source. So I have my source open on the right-hand side. My source is the Christian Science Monitor and the article from them here. So this is the coronavirus article by Christian Science Monitor. That's the source I'm evaluating. So how do I use MediaBiasFactCheck to evaluate the source? It's super easy and actually really cool. I love this website. So I'm going to expand the page so you can see it more easily. The way you do it is you go to the top of your source on the internet and you go to where the URL is listed here at the top. I've highlighted it in blue so you can see it. You're actually going to click at the end of your URL and you're going to start erasing the URL. Not all of it. You want to take the URL back, erase it all the way back to the .com. So you want to stop where it says .com or .org or whatever yours says. And you're going to put a space, and then you're going to type in the word MediaBiasFactCheck.com. You're going to click enter. It's going to take you to Google, and it's going to have the first result here on Google is actually from MediaBiasFactCheck.com. And it's about my source, Christian Science Monitor. And that's what I need to know. So I'm going to click on that. And it's going to open me up to the MediaBiasFactCheck's lateral reading page where I can learn about Christian Science Monitor and their reputation. And it's really cool because when you scroll down, you'll see right at the top, the first thing it says here, it has this blue and red arrow spectrum. That is the bias spectrum. The little yellow dot tells you where on the bias spectrum your source falls. So you can see here that my yellow dot says that the Christian Science Monitor falls within the least biased range of the spectrum. And that's really good. That means that it's not known for being very heavily biased left or very heavily biased right. It's kind of just in the middle, which is good. It's more neutral. The next piece of information that it says is factual reporting. And you can see that the green label is indicating that Christian Science Monitor has a high reputation for factual reporting. And that is also really good. We want our sources to be known to be telling the truth. We want them to be factual. If you scroll down a little bit, you can also see that this section here tells you a little bit more in like sentences about what that top part is telling you. So it's telling you these sources have minimal bias and use very few loaded words. And the reputation reporting is factual and usually has good sources. And then over here in the bolded part, it basically breaks it down for you. And it says, we rate the Christian Science Monitor as least biased because it has balanced story selection and fair reporting coverage of both sides. Further, we rate them high for factual reporting due to a proper sourcing of information and a clean fact check record. So it's telling you in those bold sentences that this source has a good reputation. They tell the truth, they provide sources, and they usually balance both sides. So that sounds pretty good to me. So when I minimize the screen to open our worksheet back up, you can see on the left, it says, which website did you use to evaluate your source? And I'm going to highlight MediaBiasFactCheck. And then it says, what did the website say about your source's reliability or reputation? And that's basically right here in the bold. It said that the Christian Science Monitor has a high reputation for factual reporting. And then it says, what did the website say about your source's known biases? And I'm going to say the Christian Science Monitor says that they are least biased. So rates as least biased by MediaBiasFactCheck. And then it asks you to tell us, do you think your source is reliable? Why or why not? If I were looking at the information I had gathered, I would think to myself, it seems reliable because it is known to have factual reporting, a reputation, classified as least biased. So to me, those two things are good, and this source seems like a good one. So that is how you use Media Bias Fact Check to evaluate your sources. Happy researching, everyone. Bye.